what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be all about what my toddler eats in a day. Isaiah, my son, is about 22 months old at the time of this video, and obviously every day is not the same, but this is basically what a typical day looks like for him. So we're starting this morning off with some protein pancakes by Kodiak. This is the almond poppy seed flavor, and it is so good. I always like to make these with milk and an egg to give it added protein. However, we only had 2 eggs left this morning, so I decided to just scramble those and eat them whole. So most mornings Isaiah wakes up between 6:30 and 7, and some mornings he wakes up very, very hungry. So I'll give him a small snack before we have like a real breakfast, which is exactly what happened this morning. So I had to give him some cantaloupe to snack on while I was making these pancakes and eggs. And then other mornings he wakes up not hungry at all, and he doesn't eat anything until like an hour after he's awake. So every day is a little different. I just follow his lead for the most part, and it works out pretty good. So I feel like most mornings I don't actually eat the same thing that Isaiah eats for breakfast. I feel like most of the time I'm making him something different than what I'm having. But today I actually really wanted the protein pancakes, and the eggs sounded good. So we're having the exact same breakfast, which is nice. But usually while he's eating, I'll be making myself a different breakfast, either for myself or for Scott. So this was nice that we could just sit down and eat together. Okay, what's up? So as you just saw, Isaiah was eating his pancakes. He had some scrambled eggs and some yogurt. I just wanted to show you, after I made 1 cup of those pancakes. What's that letter? A D? Whoa. So after I made 1 cup of the Kodiak protein mix, Isaiah ate 2 small pancakes. I had 2 small ones and 1 larger one, and I still have 4 small pancakes left. So this is one of the reasons why I actually really like making pancakes for Isaiah sometimes, because there's almost always leftovers. What's that one? Oh my gosh, is that the letter E? For elephant. Yeah. And then this yogurt is it's whole milk yogurt, and I forget who it's by. I only have this one left, but they sell it at Target. They sell it at most grocery stores. What's that one? What letter is that? Let me see. A G? Oh my gosh. So anyway, I like this yogurt because it's whole fat yogurt, which is really good for infants and toddlers. Comes in a 4-pack, and I buy this weekly. cheers? Cheers. Mmm. Is that yummy? Oh, go on. More? We'll have more tomorrow. So this morning, Isaiah and I were going to take a little field trip to the bookstore. And I always have to bring snacks whenever we leave the house because I just never know when this kid is going to get hungry. So we brought raisins and some cashews. And so we're here at the bookstore playing around and about to have our snack because sure enough, within 20 minutes of getting there, Isaiah was asking to eat. So part of our bookstore ritual is to go to the coffee shop and grab a snack before we leave. So today they had this really good looking cheese and broccoli quiche, which I really enjoyed, but Isaiah didn't like it. So he just ended up snacking on his cashews. And then I also found these like arrow wheat cookie biscuit things, which I'll show you later in this video. So he had about 4 of those. And then when we got home, we didn't really have time before nap to have like a full-on lunch. So he had 4 pieces of salami, a couple bites of cheese, and I believe some fruit. And as you can see, he didn't even finish all of that. Okay, so it is now nap time. Isaiah is sleeping. So I figured I would go through some of our favorite snacks that we have on hand pretty much all the time. Like some kind of combination of the following snacks are always in our pantry or in our refrigerator. So first of all, I try to feed Isaiah like 80% of the time whole foods. I really try to stay away from like the processed snacks. I just think it's like, you know, a slippery slope. Once you start giving them the processed snacks, then I don't know, maybe it's harder to get them to eat the real foods. So, but every kid is different, right? And you have to do what's right for your family and for your kid. So this is not by any means a judgment on what other moms are giving their children. This is what I do, what I prefer to do, and I'm just sharing that with you, and maybe you'll get some ideas from what Isaiah and I do together. So that being said, mostly what Isaiah snacks on, honestly, is fruit. He loves fruit. I think he has fruit probably with every meal and at least 1 or 2 times like in between meals a day. So since I know that he is definitely going to eat fruit and he'll pretty much eat any fruit I give him, I try to buy different kinds of fruit every single week. So we just switch it up week to week between bananas. Bananas, that's probably his favorite fruit, honestly, are bananas. Watermelon, he loves strawberries. He likes pineapple, cantaloupe. Grapes are like meh. And apples he loves. He loves the little cutie oranges. What else? Honestly, like almost every fruit I've ever given him, he's liked. But every now and then, a couple of them, like I said, will be like hit or miss. And that's totally normal because if you think about it, when you eat a strawberry, does it always taste exactly the same? No. Sometimes strawberries are more tart. Sometimes they're sweeter. So I used to get really frustrated when like one week Isaiah would love strawberries and then the next week he wouldn't want to touch them. But then it dawned on me like, oh yeah, these strawberries aren't as sweet as last week. So maybe that's why he doesn't like them. Whatever. Plus, our taste buds change all the time, even as adults, you know? Sometimes I'm just not in the mood for a strawberry. So I try not to like get upset when he doesn't want to eat anything. And for the most part, I do try to just follow, there's like a, I don't know what it's called, but there's a method of feeding your children, and it's basically like you give them the food and then they decide what on the plate they want to eat. And if they want more of one item, then you can give them more of that item until they're full. So I pretty much try to follow that. I don't try to force him to eat anything that he doesn't want, because I don't want him to associate that food with like, you know, a bad feeling or being forced to eat it. I just think it's normal for toddlers to want certain things on certain days and want different things on other days. So that's kind of like my approach. Just so you know. We haven't been as good with vegetables lately because I've just been struggling to find vegetables that he likes. And honestly, I've been struggling to eat vegetables during this pregnancy myself. So we just haven't had them prepped and ready to give him as much as we normally would. But he does love broccoli. He'll eat broccoli almost every time I give it to him, as long as it's roasted. He also likes peas, so we always have frozen peas. Sometimes he'll eat corn. He is not a fan of sweet potatoes, which is so weird because sweet potatoes are so good. Anyway, so back to snacks. That was a little bit of a tangent. I just wanted to give you some more background on what I actually try to give him and what he actually eats. So for the most part, he snacks on fruit. He also eats things like that salami that I showed you earlier. Cheese, he loves cheese. The yogurts, I like to give him fruit and vegetable packets like this. But you can find these anywhere. They have them in the baby section at most stores, but they also just have these in the snack section. So they're not like specifically branded for babies, but obviously they're the same thing. So this one's apple and spinach, and he likes this one. So that's good because at least I know he's getting, you know, vitamins and minerals from the spinach that he wouldn't normally get because he doesn't eat a lot of spinach. I also just give him unsweetened applesauce sometimes as a snack, which he loves because he loves apples. The two things that we almost always have that he probably eats almost every other day are just those baby puffs, which I'm sure you've seen in the baby section. They have all different kinds of flavors. There's like 4 or 5 different brands that make them. We just get whatever flavor we feel like grabbing that day. These little biscuits that you can get in the baby section, you saw him eating these earlier. He had about, I think he had 4 of them because there were 4 left in the bag and I just gave him all 4. He loves these, loves these. So some items that we don't typically have all the time, like these are more like treats for Isaiah, are like these little breakfast bars that are branded for babies and toddlers. These are just apple flavored, but the reason I don't typically give him these kinds of processed snacks is because they usually have added sugars, and I try to avoid added sugars as much as possible. So like these have 5 grams of added sugar per bar, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you add them up for a toddler, it's a lot. And then right now we also have these little like fruit snack roll, what are these, like fruit strips? They say fruit and vegetable strips, but these have 4 grams of added sugar per thing. Again, it doesn't sound like a lot, but if you had one of these and one of these and then another thing of something that had added sugar in it, you know, he's already up to 20 grams of added sugar, and he eats fruit all the time, so it's just a lot of sugar. So we just try to limit those. Those are for like special occasions, or if we're traveling. I feel like he eats a lot more of these kinds of snacks, like if we have a long car drive to visit the in-laws or my parents, or if we're going to like the aquarium, you know, it's like a 45-minute drive. So these kinds of snacks are like quick to grab and travel with. And so on those kinds of days, he'll usually have more of these than normal. And then we also, these are definitely a treat for him. He loves these fruit snacks, loves them. He would probably eat this whole box if I let him. And these have 11 grams of added sugar. So these are like the ones that I try to avoid as much as I can. And of course, they're the ones he likes the most. So those are definitely a treat for him. these little veggie sticks. I'm sure you've seen these. They have them in almost every grocery store. I think this particular bag is from Trader Joe's. These are 0 added sugar, so that's good. And even though they're called veggie sticks, you know, they're not really veggie sticks. They're just chips, in my opinion. Like they don't really have any significant source of vitamins or minerals, but he likes them, so I do let him have these every now and then. I try not to let him have like actual chips or crackers. Sometimes he will see Ritz crackers in our cupboard and he will ask for them and cry for them. So if that happens, I might give him 1 or 2 crackers, or I'll try to put like peanut butter on them to make them more nutritionally dense. But other than that, like I really try to stay away from that kind of stuff. So those are just some of the other snacks that he might get throughout the week, depending on the day and what we're doing. And then when he wakes up from his nap, he's usually not that hungry, probably for like the first hour. And then I'll try to give him like a full meal. So in that full meal, the lunch meal, I'm gonna try to include some vegetables for him because he hasn't had a vegetable yet today, I don't think. And then dinner, we might have a little light snack between lunch and dinner, and then dinner is usually around 5:30, sometimes as late as 6 if he's not hungry, and we always have a vegetable with dinner. So I don't know what he's gonna eat the rest of the day yet, but we're gonna find out, so stay tuned. So dinner tonight just ended up being leftover spaghetti that we needed to use up. And like I said, I wanted to give him some vegetables. So I had made some zucchini and squash for Scott and I and decided to see if Isaiah would try it, which he did not. So I ended up giving him some peas with a little bit of butter and salt on them. He will usually eat peas, so I was pretty confident that he'd at least get some vegetable in. And now we're just on our afternoon walk, and I decided to let Isaiah have a little bit of dessert, so I gave him those fruit snacks that I had showed you earlier in the video. And I just wanted to mention that we don't really drink anything else other than water. At least Isaiah doesn't, I mean. So we don't give him like fruit juice. He doesn't like milk, unfortunately, so the only thing he drinks is water. And then he was still hungry when we got home from our walk, so he's just snacking on some watermelon. After the watermelon, Isaiah did end up having some grapes, only like 6 grapes because he was still hungry, and then he went to bed. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe and like the video so that I know that you want to see more videos like this in the future. And if you aren't already following me on Instagram, be sure to check me out on Instagram because I'm always posting workouts, health and fitness tips, and more mom life hacks every single day. And I'm excited to see you in my next video. Make it a great day.